どうぞどうぞお願いします。どうぞどうぞどうぞ。すみません。お待ちするんですか？はい。My name is Keiko Flores, formerly known as Keiko Schneider. Last two presentations for ACTFL, I had somebody else present, so it's been a while. I promised that I do this presentation in English. Also, my colleague from SMU is here, so I have examples in Japanese. The handout has examples of Japanese, but I'd like everybody else in the room, if there is anybody who's not a Japanese teacher, understand. So this is what it is. And normally I don't usually do this, but I have to read because I'm out of time. iTunesU is a university-sponsored iTunes store, number one, as used as podcasting distribution center for both public and authorized users. It fits natural to digital inclination of today's students. It's enhancing pedagogical effectiveness and administrative convenience to the language program. So that's the point. And let's see if I can do this and come back and kind of nicely. This is me. I'm Flores now. And iTunesU. If you know iTunes, this is how it looks, and what it is you go to this place, and then you buy music and stuff, so there's a category, and you search the music you want, and instead of having all the different categories, university has iTunesU for university, and then they have department of arts and sciences and engineering and all that, then going down to the class and all that kind of stuff. So the materials, audio and documents and video are organized that way. So what I do is to deliver, first of all, record all the classes and put it on there, and also the handout, more like what I project in class, put it into PDF and students download. I usually tell people to do not take time, bother writing things down. You have to be practicing speaking in class. You can study practicing reading and writing later. You cannot practice speaking at home, so do it in class. So in order to do that, I do that. Also to photocopy expenses, I put all the vocabulary list and on their schedule, and so that I don't have to make photocopies, and then they can just download and print, and I keep my photocopy quota. So iTunes has been also used part of class activities to practice speaking directly. This is not very, very technologically impossible if you do it that other ways, but it's just more convenient, and you will see. So I'm going to, and I have activity examples, and I'll show you how to record and upload, and hopefully there's time for question and answer. And as usual, you can go to my website and act for 2011, which I think I'm actually online here, and you can download these PowerPoint presentations, handouts you're looking at in PDF, and you can also have access to a public direct link from there. And the presentation is being recorded, and if I put a picture from a designated photographer later, and I put it on the YouTube, and I upload to YouTube, and if you missed this presentation, it was so good, you can relive it again. So, I think I have to do the thanking. The project was made possible by funding from John G. Tower Center for Political Sciences, Provost Office, Teaching and Technology Group in cooperation with Academic Computing, World Language and Literature Tech Center at SMU. Thank you. So, I get all these funding for over the years. I started 7 years ago. This is my 7th year. So I received from different places. I bought 10 iPod Nano for students. They have to sign their life. This is a university property. You have to return it by the final exam ending date, but you can just use your iPod, whatever you want for the semester. iPod Postcaster, iPod Classic. Oh, this is Classic, but Classic died, so now it's Nano. And Belkin TuneTalk I do. iPod Touch for the instructor. I use it for review on the road. HD camcorder and flip cam. MacBook Air, I haven't gotten it because this podcast capture is still not available at ACTFL and other conferences, and I get to buy books and study. So here is how it looks with this is not public, this is a public access address. But I do have for student-only access. So certain things only students are allowed to do, certain things anybody can do, like listen to a lecture from Philadelphia and somebody's studying in Japanese. So that's the cool thing about iTunesU. You can listen to Tokyo Daigaku's lecture on whatever, or UC Berkeley is one, Princeton's one. They have lots and lots of lectures. Not necessarily Japanese, of course, but that's what the iTunesU is all about. So with this student limited access, they have to be registered in my class in Blackboard, and then they click on certain places, and this is how it's going to look on iTunesU main page, on SMU. And then it will go to my college, humanities, and there are some classes. You click on iTunes, you begin in Japanese. And then I probably have to explain a little bit about these tabs. If you know podcast is something that was sort of like a streaming audio. It's kind of like a radio, but the information comes to you without you going to the site to listen to streaming radio. It comes to you. You can say, I'm going to take once every 6 hours, once every day. So when something I post, for example, this is where I put all my lectures. So when I post something here for today, they don't have to worry about downloading. It will come to the computer and it will send with your iPod the way you program. Class notes, I put what I project PDF documents. I put all the schedules and vocabulary lists and other stuff. Audio files, this is where I put copyrighted material that I use, for example, dictation I make. Nakama, I cannot put it in here because this is not my thing, so I still have to use Blackboard, and when I have video lectures, I put it in here. So that's how it looks, and I have one for each classes. Let's see. So activity example, if you can turn it to page 2, I have one for using Nakama 1 in my 1402. Your mission today is to, I take my students to World Language Tech Lab, and your mission today is to make an MP3 file. You will describe what you and your friend want to have for birthday, happen to be so close, and want to do and explain why. Next, you describe the shopping detail at a Japanese department store, then upload to iTunesU, and it will be, fix me is what we correct thing in class. You will do this individually. So let's see. They will upload at the end of the class to the iTunesU site. Your podcast will be graded content accuracy, use of required grammar, and use of required vocabulary. This counts as an assignment. Step 1, listen to Census demo on iTunesU. If I have time to say how you can make this kind of project successful, it's crucial to have something that they can listen to or look in the video, like my demo or project from last year's class. That's my opinion. Make an audio file using Audacity, upload to iTunesU, student work tab. So content goes 1, 2, 3. All I'm doing here is take out this chapter's grammar and required grammar and some interesting vocabulary as required vocabulary. Students get together, listen to the demo, create audio file, upload. So that's one example. And you can do this for any chapter that you're working on. And of course, I don't do this at the beginning of the chapter. I do it maybe either between as soon as all the new grammars are covered, or maybe after I do dialogue and start getting into review mode. Not the very last minute so that I have time to go over the correction with students. So this is sort of like an integration part. Otherwise, students don't get to do that. If you can flip over to page 4, I have another example of weather, and it's pretty much the same thing. Your podcast will be graded on content accuracy, use of required grammar, and use of required vocabulary. Listen to Sensei's demo. MP3 you upload to iTunesU, and the content is you bump into your classmate and greet, inquire what the mutual friend is doing right now. Teimasu. And they talk about weather today and weekend. So again, I put the topics of what the topics of the chapter is, required grammar that the ones they are supposed to know before the chapter exam, and required vocabulary. So then they listen to my demo, create an audio file, put it on a chat, podcasting sites. And what I like is that I could do this on Blackboard, no problem. It's just I have to do all that uploading. Maybe students can upload now, I have to learn it. And then I will make this as a follow-up homework. Please make sure you have paperwork, listen to your students' podcast, pick the best one, and answer the question based on the conversation. Submit it tomorrow, which is on page 6. So once they go to the lab, record their podcast in weather forecast, then upload, they will go home and listen to everybody else's podcast about the same topic. They know what the criteria are, and they decide who is best, which is not their own. And based on that, if it is a good podcast, then those information has to be there. Then they have to listen to the podcast and answer those questions. So those are the things. Would you like to listen to actual recording?
Yes.
Okay, well, let me see. Before I get to it, I will get carried away once I start. Let me go through this. I have Podcaster using microphone that I thought I was going to have problem. And I also got the microphone from the funding, and I use Audacity, which is Mac, Windows, and Unix compatible, free. And my language lab has a great support. They do the training. This is how it looks. You see the iPod Classic that died, and the microphone that I still use. This is the cool microphone, a USB, real nice, fits right in my desk. And podcast capture is what it's supposed to be. I have this computer sitting next to me, so I'm asking for more than one computer for that. I'm waiting for that. But then when I record it, there's a microphone in here too. When I record that, the software will, number 1, record. Number 2, compress. This one does not record as MP3, so I do the compressing and everything. Then upload to the specific place on the server, podcast server, automatically. So before I leave class, I hit whatever the software says, it's already uploaded. Students can go hook on the iPod to their laptop on a wireless network, and the lecture's right there on their hand. So I'm waiting for that. But podcast maybe is not the best interest for a lot of people. Previously, there was a presentation about not a whole lot of pronunciation thing is done. In general, in language teaching, reading and writing is always easier to tackle with and easier to research, and speaking and listening sort of gets, that's the same kind of thing. So maybe they're not as so hot like in Facebook or Twitter these days. So users can record input from a local remote audio video device, which I'm hoping the laptop captures screen activity or choose an existing file to upload and distribute immediately. So, okay. Then I can have you listen to the recording. This is the shopping. If you know Japanese, page 2 has the guidelines, required grammar, required vocabulary. And here's one.
私は誕生日にドレスが欲しいです。ドレスは綺麗なんです。誕生日にニューヨークに行きたいです。友達がニューヨークにあるのでニューヨークに行きたいです。私の友達はヒャンジュンさんです。ヒャンジュンさんは映画を見るのが好きです。ヒャンジュンさんは誕生日に腕時計を欲しがっています。今は腕時計がないので腕時計を欲しがっています。ヒャンジュンさんは誕生日にオレンジを食べたがっています。ヒャンジュンさんは果物が好きなんです。プレゼントを買いにデパートに行きます。電製品売り場は6階にあります。腕時計を1本買います。腕時計は18,000円くらいです。打ち抜く売り場は3階にあります。ドレスを1枚買います。ドレスは8,000円くらいです。
At this point, I think I can afford to ask for your question or comments. No comments? I just want to say then, we did this in one class hour, which is in 50 minutes. That included a little bit of preparation and recording and uploading all within 50 minutes. So, let's see, maybe, would you like to hear the weather one? Do you have any comments, questions? Presentation, let's see, weather, audio. Those Koreans are so good. They're brothers and sisters. So I have to.
関さんおはよう。関さんおはよう。天気が良くないですね。そうですね。
The guidelines on page 4.
曇っていますね。
おびさんは今何をしていますか？
おびさんですか？テニスをしていますよ。
そうですか。ダラスは冬が寒いですね。
そうですね。今日は気温が2度くらいまで下がるでしょう。
そうですか。雨が降らないでしょう。
ここは暖かくなりますね。
そうですか。風はどうですか？
風が弱いと思います。
そうですか。夜は寒いかな？
そうですね。寒くなります。
週末の天気はどうですか？
週末の天気は良くなるでしょう。
晴れるかもしれませんね。
そうですね。
Any questions or comments? Then I think I would like to go on here. Like I said, key points to successful lessons, step-by-step instructions. Even that, students don't read instructions. And I have to say, read whatever you're signing before you write a signature. They just say, you're just signing. I don't sign anything before I just sign it. Step-by-step instructions. Sample recording, either from me or from previous years. Checklist for requirements. Task complete within class time, 1 or 3 minute recording. My demos usually 1 to 3 minutes. And students seem to like working in pairs and groups. So, I don't know if you have any kind of reflections, questions kind of merging after students are recording, I always hope to look for ways to engage students, and this is toward the end of the unit. They have to be able to do something with the language in the context, using the vocabulary we learn, and using the grammar that was introduced. And if the textbook is clever and wise, at the end of the lesson, you can do something like this pretty nicely. So they seem to like it, and they seem to retain materials better, and they seem to remember, just like, when you do project, they seem to remember that's the highlight of their classwork. They get to be creative and take the initiatives. Then, when you heard that recording, I don't know if you thought about this, is this a prepared speech or actual conversation? Remember that brother and sister Kansan and Kansan talking. Are they actually talking? Or are they reading? We wouldn't know. Is it good or is it bad? Or then, let's say they are reading. Maybe they are not reading. Is it leading to proficiency? Is it helping anything? Is it helping pronunciation? Is it helping speaking? Is it conversation? Is it speaking? Is it just a grammar exercise using voice? Any comments, thoughts? Hi. Doriru sensei desu.
Can you ask them to perform afterwards in class?
I haven't done, but that's a great idea.
Yeah, is it different pairs? Yeah,
Any other comments, thoughts? Do you think this is worth doing? If yes, why?
I do this I teach English in Japan. I do this often, and as she just said, I randomly assign pairs after, just before recording at the end of class, randomly assign pairs, randomly assign roles, and then they really have to perform.
Right. And why do you do that? Why do you think it helps?
Well, it forces them to really think about what they're studying whilst they're studying, and they know that they have to produce it at the end. So
that's a great point. Let's say we have 5 grammar items in one chapter the day before chapter test, and say, what are those 5 grammar items you have to know for tomorrow? How many do you think they can tell? Any other thoughts? Any other thoughts? Questions? Do you think this is not worth doing because they could be just listening to what I said? I don't have a demo script, like I put it for you, but I don't have demo script. They'll listen to it. I especially think about these Korean kids. I feel like they're just taking my notes, putting all the information differently, and maybe they're looking at notes while they are doing the recording, and they finish the recording in 50 minutes. Is it good? Is it good for speaking? Is it good for proficiency? Is it to improve conversation?
I think, well, first of all, I think the 2 best points of this are the idea of collaboration, when more than one student is working on it, and also the idea of integrating technology, right? Because that's immediately going to be attractive to students. And Shoji Sensei, in the past, gave a presentation on having an audio file and having the students themselves peer evaluate. And I think that would be a great way to hold students accountable. Because even if it's a prepared speech, even if they're reading, I think if they're also listening and evaluating, then that will improve their proficiency.
I really appreciate your comments.
I really would like to move from that level to performance until they can do it without anything. And then conversation is not exactly, one person speaks and then the next person comes in. Like these 2 Korean brothers and sisters, they overlapped at the end or something not expected. 2 people with no preparation, we can converse or not. If you can do that, that would be great.
I just wondered, you said that those are the good students. Do you see, other in the pair and you'll be able to tell more, or they're prepared ones, or those who.
These are not exactly good, so maybe let's see.
おはよう、おびさん。
おはよう皆さん。ダラスの気温は涼しいですね。曇っている？
今日は15度でしょう。
そうです。風が弱いから。
明日は雨が降るかもしれない。
4月ですから。明日は雨が降る。
週末は気温が上がるかな。
はい、週末は晴れだと思います。
そうですね。
今どこにマティスさんですか？
マティスさんは寝ていると思います。
雨が降っている。
こんな寒くなる。
喋った。
They are cute. Any thoughts?
I do the same thing, but I always use the parents and I let them prepare and do it in front of the class. And so even though they prepare and they, the process, during the process, they will be able to review the patterns and then they kind of cooperate and then try to help each other to learn the correct the patterns, and also at least they memorize or they would be able to tell them. I usually mention that you can do it probably better without looking at the papers. So they need to do it without the papers. And more likely, the students who are reading would do worse, because they're depending on the reading and finding places to do, just like you can tell that someone in the comments, they must be reading. But if without reading, they can do it better than the comments will come out because of the practicing before. So like I noticed, as I said, it's great to be doing it, the more you can do it, of course,
It was sort of same thing, but are they reading or
I don't know.
Are they really spontaneous?
I don't think they're spontaneous. So, I come back to this question, is this anything useful? And then I wonder, I would like to take a defense because this is only for 50 minutes. They have very limited time. They sometimes have technical problems. So it's not like they're taking their time in writing and taking time to read it in front of the microphone. So it's sort of quick enough, sort of slow enough. So I think I will take your suggestion of not doing this like a real final project, like a presentation type thing, but because of the nature that I actually do not know if they're looking or not, maybe I will, do this like a first draft version type exercise, and then we move up a bit before the end of the units, and we do the chapter exam or something like that. So, like I said, podcasting iTunesU is not flying that well because professors are rather worried that they're not going to have a job because, if they can just play the same lecture from last year, why do they have to hire this guy? And if you're geeky enough, I'll tell you how to upload and all these things, but that's my reflection. And I would like to thank you for coming. And I'm Keiko Flores, and thank you for listening.